Congratulations, Pi Network pioneers. I've got some incredible news that could change everything for crypto adoption in India and across the world. But before I reveal what the Indian government just said about regulating cryptocurrency, let me tell you why this matters more than you might think. Right now, as I'm recording this, there's absolutely no proper regulation on crypto in India. Zero. No legal framework, no clear rules, just people trading on a tax basis while scams pop up everywhere, making everyone terrified of the whole crypto space. But what if I told you that something just happened that could flip this entire situation on its head? Stick around, because the response we received is nothing like what anyone expected. Now, you might be wondering why I'm so excited about regulation when most crypto people hate the idea of government involvement. Here's the thing, and this is crucial to understand. When there's no regulation, average citizens have no protection. They get scammed, they lose money, and then they blame crypto itself instead of the fraudsters. But when proper regulation exists, suddenly everyone knows the rules. Everyone understands their rights. The whole market becomes legitimate in the eyes of regular people who've been too scared to get involved. And that's where mass adoption actually happens. But there's a twist to this story that makes it even more interesting, which I'll reveal in just a moment. Hello again, Pi Network pioneers. I'm your host Nathan. Before dive deep into our video, let's greet and welcome my incredible pioneers from around the world. Whether you're watching from Nigeria, Papua New Guinea, United States, India, Pakistan, Philippines, Canada, Kenya, or anywhere else on this beautiful planet, I'm absolutely thrilled to share this incredible news with you today. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you're always in the loop with the latest Pi Network updates. And don't forget to drop a comment saying Pi Network to the moon along with your country and flag. Let's fill the comments with pioneer pride and show the world how powerful and united our global community really is. So, let's dive right in. Let me paint you a picture of what's happening globally right now, because this context is essential. In America, they're not just talking about crypto regulation, they're actually doing something about it. The Clarity Act is being voted on as we speak. January 15th is the voting date, and when it passes, Donald Trump is going to sign it into law. This isn't some small regulatory tweak. This is a complete framework that separates securities under the SEC from commodities, which is where crypto falls. You know what this means? It means American companies, developers, and investors will finally have clear rules. Decentralized finance gets support. Capital gains get proper treatment. Developers can write code and innovate without constantly looking over their shoulders, wondering if they're breaking some unclear law. The senators and leaders there are taking genuinely progressive steps forward while the crypto industry explodes with innovation. But here's where it gets frustrating for us in India. We don't see anything like this happening here. Our finance minister occasionally makes a statement. There's talk about CBDC, the digital rupee. But for actual cryptocurrencies that people want to use and invest in, silence, grey area, confusion. Despite this, we've got major exchanges operating from India. Polygon, one of the biggest crypto projects in the world, was actually created here in India. Exchanges like CoinDCX serve millions of users, yet there's no proper structure governing any of it. Now, you might think the government just doesn't care about crypto at all, that they're going to ignore it forever, or maybe even ban it completely. But what happened next proves that assumption completely wrong, and it's going to surprise you. Back in October, something interesting happened. I got together with about 14 to 15 respected members of the PiGCV Warrior of India community. These aren't just random crypto enthusiasts. These are serious people who understand both the technology and the importance of engaging with our government as responsible citizens. We had a meeting and discussed a simple but powerful idea. What if we actually asked the government directly? What if instead of just complaining on social media about the lack of regulation, we formally requested a response from the Ministry of Finance? What if we asked them straight up whether the Indian government is even interested in creating crypto regulation, or if they're planning to keep ignoring it forever? Everyone agreed this was something we needed to do. So we decided to write an official letter through a registered NGO. Now, the main person who made this happen, and I want to give him full credit because without him this wouldn't exist, is Neeraj Kumarji. He's the president and national chairman of the Anti-Corruption Social Trust of India. Neeraj Ji took on the responsibility of preparing the complete draft of this letter. He handled all the technical aspects, made sure the language was proper and formal, and submitted it directly to the Ministry of Finance. You can actually see the letter on screen if you're watching the video version of this. After sending this letter, we waited. We didn't know if we'd get a response at all. The government gets thousands of letters and petitions. Would they even bother replying to a group of crypto enthusiasts asking about regulation? This uncertainty lasted for weeks, and honestly, many of us started to doubt whether anything would come of it. But then something happened that none of us fully expected. On January 6th of this month, a response arrived. An actual official letter from the Ministry of Finance. Not an email, not a generic, automated response. A real letter with signatures and official letterhead. And what this letter says is absolutely crucial for understanding where India stands on crypto regulation. But before I tell you exactly what it says, you need to understand what this response actually means beyond just the words on the page. Let me show you this letter properly so you can see it's completely authentic. At the top, it clearly states Government of India, Ministry of Finance, Department of Economic Affairs. This is genuine. This is not some fake document or screenshot from a random website. This is an official reply from the Department of Economic Affairs, which is directly under the Ministry of Finance. It arrived on January 6th, 2026. The letter is addressed to Shri Neeraj Kumarji because he was the primary sender. You might also know him as Naman Ji. When I host meetings and events, I often present him as the host or main organizer. So the reply came in his name, but this was a collective effort from all of us who sent the letter together. Now, what does this letter actually say? The subject line alone tells you a lot. Plea for clear regulation of cryptocurrency and stable coins to empower Indian citizens and strengthen the economy. That's what we asked for. Not a ban, not vague promises, but clear regulation that would help Indian citizens participate safely in the crypto economy. And the government's response? Well, it's not a simple yes or no, and that's actually more significant than you might realize. Here's what the letter states, word for word. In reference to the subject cited above, it is stated that crypto assets are currently unregulated in India. Okay, so they're confirming what we already know. There's no regulation right now. But then comes the interesting part. Your concerns and suggestions have been noted. This might sound like bureaucratic language that doesn't mean anything, but actually, this phrase carries weight in government communication. When a ministry says your concerns have been noted, it means they've officially recorded your feedback. It's on the record now. They can't pretend nobody ever asked them about this. And they specifically mentioned both concerns and suggestions, which means they're acknowledging we're not just complaining, we're offering constructive input. But the next sentence is where things get really interesting. And this is the line that made me realize this response is more positive than it might appear on the surface. The letter continues. All subject aspects will be factored in while formulating a policy on it. Read that again carefully. While formulating a policy on it. Not if we ever decide to maybe think about it. Not this is under consideration with no timeline. They said while formulating a policy. The word while suggests an ongoing or future process that they're already considering. They're talking about when a policy gets made, not if it gets made. This is huge, and here's why. The government could have easily said, "Thank you for your input, but we have no plans to regulate crypto at this time." They could have said, "Crypto is too risky, and we're not interested in creating rules for it." They could have even ignored our letter completely. But they didn't do any of those things. Instead, they acknowledged that policy formulation is something that will happen, and when it does, our input will be considered. The letter ends with, "We deeply value your comments on the subject." This is signed by Riju Rana, who is an assistant director in the Department of Economic Affairs. You can see their signature right there on the official document. Now, why am I making such a big deal out of what might seem like a standard formal reply? Because in government communication, what they don't say is just as important as what they do say. And there's something very significant that this letter doesn't say, which reveals the government's actual position more than anything else. The letter doesn't say crypto is banned. It doesn't say they're planning to ban it. It doesn't say crypto is dangerous or that they're discouraging people from using it. It doesn't say they have concerns about national security or economic stability. All they said is that it's currently unregulated, and when regulation comes, our suggestions will be considered. From an analysis perspective, this is actually a positive response. It's cautious, yes. It's not a ringing endorsement, absolutely. But it's also not a rejection. The government is keeping the door open for crypto regulation while acknowledging public interest and input. This tells me they're watching what happens globally, especially with America's Clarity Act, and they're positioning themselves to potentially move in a similar direction when the time is right. Think about it this way. India doesn't want to be left behind in the technology race. We've seen this with IT services, with space exploration, with digital payments through UPI. The government knows that if crypto becomes a major part of the global financial system, and India has completely banned it or ignored it, we'll be at a massive disadvantage. So they're taking a wait-and-see approach while keeping their options open. But here's what you need to understand about the actual current status of crypto in India in 2026, because there's a lot of confusion about what's legal and what isn't. And this confusion is exactly why proper regulation would be so helpful. Let me break down the reality right now. First, holding and trading crypto is legal in India. Let me repeat that because many people don't realize it. You can legally hold and trade cryptocurrency in India right now. The government has not banned it. What they've said is that crypto is not legal tender, which means you can't use it to pay for things the way you use rupees. Bitcoin isn't going to be accepted at your local store or for paying taxes. But owning it, buying it, selling it, trading it, that's all legal. Second, exchanges have to register with FIU and IAD. That's the Financial Intelligence Unit and Internet and Mobile Association of India. Any exchange operating legally in India must be registered with these bodies. They also have to follow anti-money laundering rules and know your customer requirements. This is actually good because it means there's some basic level of oversight to prevent complete fraud. Third, and this is the painful part, there's a 30% tax on crypto gains plus a 1% TDS deduction. That's a lot of tax, significantly higher than regular investment gains. This heavy taxation is one way the government is managing crypto without fully regulating it. They're making money from it through taxes while avoiding the responsibility of creating a complete legal framework. But here's the problem. Even with these rules, there's no comprehensive regulation. It's like the government set up a few basic guardrails but never built the actual road. People are investing and trading, but there's still massive uncertainty. What happens if an exchange suddenly shuts down? What legal recourse do you have? What about new types of crypto products or services? Nobody really knows because there's no clear law governing these situations. The government is being cautious because they're worried about systematic risk. Basically, they're afraid that if crypto goes mainstream and something goes wrong, it could affect the broader economy. This fear isn't completely unreasonable. We've seen crypto crashes and exchange failures globally, but the counter-argument is that proper regulation actually reduces risk by creating clear rules and protections. Meanwhile, the government is heavily promoting CBDC, central bank digital currency, which is essentially a digital version of the rupee controlled by the Reserve Bank of India. They love this idea because it gives them all the benefits of digital currency technology while maintaining complete government control. But private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Pi network, those exist in what I call a grey area. Not banned, not fully legal, just existing with some basic rules around them. So what does the letter we received actually tell us when we put all this context together? The government is listening. They're not making any commitments, but they're not shutting the door either. They're acknowledging public interest in crypto regulation. They're watching what other countries do. And most importantly, they're leaving open the possibility of creating proper regulation in the future when they feel the time is right. Is this the answer we hoped for? Not exactly. We would have loved to hear, yes, we're going to regulate crypto next year with these specific rules. But in government terms, this response is actually more positive than a lot of us expected. It's not a no, it's a we're thinking about it, We hear you and will consider your input when we act. Now, let me tell you a bit more about the person who made this possible, because his work goes beyond just writing letters to the government. Neeraj Kumar Ji, also known as Naman Ji, is the national chairman of the Anti-Corruption Social Trust of India. This isn't just a title. This is someone who actively works on issues affecting regular Indian citizens. In fact, back in November, there was a huge event held in Kurukshetra specifically about Pi Network. This happened on November 9th, and Neeraj Ji's trust, the Anti-Corruption Trust, honoured Mahesh Ji at this event. For those of you who don't know Mahesh Ji, he's one of the most respected old pioneers in the Indian Pi Network community. He's helped thousands of people solve technical problems, answered countless questions, and been a pillar of support for Indian pioneers trying to understand and use Pi Network. The fact that the Anti-Corruption Trust honoured him shows you the kind of people we're working with here. These aren't scammers or people trying to pump some scheme. These are respected community leaders who believe in the potential of technology to improve people's lives, and who understand the importance of engaging with government in a proper, official manner. What this whole experience teaches us is something important about being a responsible citizen in the digital age. We can't just complain on social media and hope things change. We can't just assume the government will figure things out on their own. If we want proper crypto regulation, if we want India to be part of the global crypto economy instead of being left behind, then we need to actively participate in the process. Writing to government ministries, submitting formal suggestions through registered NGOs, engaging with officials in a respectful and professional manner. This is how change actually happens in a democracy. It's not as exciting as posting memes or arguing in Twitter threads, but it's what actually moves the needle. And you know what? We got a response. We got an official acknowledgement from the Ministry of Finance. Our voices were heard and recorded. That's not nothing. That's actually a significant first step, and it's something we should build on. For those of you watching from rural areas or smaller towns where knowledge about crypto is still very limited, understand that this is exactly why education and awareness are so crucial. The FIFU Planner channel exists to provide you with knowledge on every aspect of crypto, Pi Network, and related topics. We try to break down complex subjects into simple, understandable language so that everyone can participate in these conversations, not just people in big cities with technical backgrounds. The more people understand crypto, the more they can make informed decisions about investing or using it. The more people understand what regulation means and why it matters, the more they can add their voices to calls for clear rules. This isn't just about making money, though yes, we all want our investments to do well. This is about India being part of a technological revolution that's reshaping global finance. So what should you do with this information? First, understand that crypto in India exists in a legal grey area but isn't banned. You can hold and trade crypto, but you need to follow the tax rules. You need to use exchanges that are registered with FIU. You need to do proper KYC, and you need to understand the risks involved because there's no comprehensive legal protection yet. Second, stay informed about developments in crypto regulation, not just in India but globally. What happens with America's Clarity Act matters because it will influence how other countries, including India, approach crypto regulation. If the US creates a successful framework that promotes innovation while protecting consumers, other countries will likely follow similar models. Third, consider engaging with the process yourself if you feel strongly about this issue. You don't need to be a technical expert or a political insider to write to your representatives or submit feedback through proper channels. Democracy works when citizens participate, and on new issues like crypto regulation, your voice actually carries weight because most politicians are still learning about this technology themselves. Fourth, be patient but persistent. The government's response to our letter is positive but vague. That's frustrating, but it's also realistic. Major policy changes don't happen overnight, especially in areas where there's still a lot of uncertainty and debate globally about the best approach. The fact that they're listening and keeping options open is good news, even if it's not the immediate clarity we'd prefer. And finally, support channels and communities that are providing education and advocacy around crypto in India. The more organized and informed our community becomes, the more influence we'll have in shaping whatever regulations eventually get created. This isn't about pumping specific coins or making quick money. This is about building a foundation for long-term participation in the crypto economy. Let me also address something important. Some people might say this government response is just bureaucratic nonsense that doesn't mean anything. They might argue the government is just placating us with nice words while having no intention of actually regulating crypto properly. I understand that cynicism, and it's partly justified based on how slowly government processes often move. But here's the thing. They could have ignored us completely. They could have sent a form letter that said nothing. They could have been explicitly negative about crypto. Instead, they acknowledged the issue, confirmed their thinking about policy formulation, and said our input will be valued. That's not revolutionary, but it's also not nothing. Change happens incrementally, especially in government policy. You submit feedback, you get acknowledged, you build relationships with officials who understand the issue, you point to successful examples from other countries, and gradually the political will build to actually do something. This letter is one small step in that process, and we should recognize it as such while continuing to push for more concrete action. The bigger picture here is that 2026 could be a turning point year for crypto regulation globally. America is moving forward with the Clarity Act. Other countries are watching and developing their own frameworks. India can either be part of this wave or get left behind. The fact that the Finance Ministry is at least engaging with the topic suggests they understand they need to make a decision one way or another, rather than just maintaining the current unclear status indefinitely. For Pi Network pioneers specifically, all of this matters because mass adoption depends heavily on regulatory clarity. People are hesitant to use or accept a cryptocurrency when they don't know if it's legal or what the tax implications are, or whether they'll have any protection if something goes wrong. Clear regulation, even if it includes some restrictions, is actually better for adoption than the current grey area where everything is uncertain. If India creates a proper regulatory framework for crypto, and if Pi Network can operate within that framework, suddenly millions of Indians who've been sitting on the sidelines will feel more comfortable getting involved. Businesses will be more willing to accept crypto payments. Developers will build more applications and services. The whole ecosystem will grow because the legal foundation finally exists. That's why this response from the Finance Ministry, modest as it is, represents a potential opening. It's not a guarantee of anything, but it's evidence that the conversation is happening at the government level, and that they're at least considering the possibility of creating proper regulations rather than just banning crypto or ignoring it forever. As we move through 2026, keep watching for developments not just in India, but globally. The crypto regulatory landscape is shifting rapidly. What seems impossible today might be standard practice next year. What seems certain today might get completely overturned by new technology or market developments. This is a dynamic, fast-moving space, and staying informed is crucial. I'll continue bringing you updates on any further responses we get from the government, any new developments in crypto regulation in India, and any major policy changes globally that might affect how India approaches this issue. This channel exists to keep you informed and educated so you can make good decisions about your involvement in crypto and Pi Network. So to wrap this up, we sent a letter to the Finance Ministry asking about crypto regulation. They responded officially, acknowledging that crypto is currently unregulated, but that our input will be considered when policy is formulated. This isn't a commitment to regulate, but it's also not a rejection. It's a cautiously positive response that keeps the door open for future action. The current status in India is that crypto is legal to hold and trade, but not legal tender. Exchanges must be registered. Heavy taxes apply, but there's no comprehensive regulation yet. The government is being careful because of concerns about risk. But they're also watching global developments and staying open to the possibility of creating proper rules when the time is right. For all of us as Pi Network pioneers and crypto enthusiasts in India, the path forward is to stay informed, follow the existing rules around taxes and KYC, engage constructively with government processes where possible, and be patient as the regulatory landscape evolves. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and we're seeing small but real signs of progress. Thank you all for watching and staying engaged with this important topic. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'll be bringing you more updates as this situation develops. Share this video with other pioneers who need to understand what's happening with crypto regulation in India. And most importantly, stay educated, stay responsible, and stay involved in this incredible technological revolution we're all part of. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.